Today I want to talk to you about different kind of food that you could obtain from your deer. Kind of food that could actually improve your health and actually prevent many of the aging symptoms, make you look and feel younger. What is it? It's deer bones, bone broth or bone soup. Yeah, all those bones that you've been throwing away turned out to be the best thing you could get for the deer. And this is the reason why many of the holistic medicine also use them as well. And they even call this a superfood. And this is also proven scientifically, and which I'm going to go over with in a little bit. And yes, there is a reason why those squirrels love to nibble on the deer bones and their antlers. If you Google why bone broth is good for you, you'll find countless information and its benefits. But for now, here are some of the benefits. Number one, because bone broth is rich in glucosamine, it will protect and improve many of your joints. Number two, bone broth has the richest source of natural collagens. And as you know, collagens improve the health of your skin and make it look and feel younger. Number three, its rich resource in glutathione improves the cell regeneration, thus helping your gut lining to heal itself a lot quicker. And this gives you a very healthy digestive system. And its rich source in gelatin does wonders for leaky gut syndrome and also helps in many of the chronic diarrhea or constipation and even some food intolerance. Number four, yep, you guessed it, it strengthens your bone and prevents osteoporosis due to its rich resource in calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. Number five, its rich source in glycine helps you to relax and decrease anxiety. Does help you to sleep better. And this also decreases some of the mental illness symptoms such as obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety, depression, and schizophrenia. Number six, this boosts your immune system due to its rich source in glutathione and amino acid, which also reduces your inflammation and also improves your digestion. Number seven, this helps your body to detoxify many of the harmful heavy metals and cancerous chemicals and other overwhelming toxins that you consume on a daily basis. Number eight, glycine and chondroitin in bone broth boost your brain performance and its health. Number nine, it protects you from heart disease, strokes, and some of the mental illness because the glycine counteracts with the negative effect of methionine from a lot of commercial meat and eggs. And now I'd like to share how we like to make the bone broth. We had these bones soaked in cold water overnight in the garage where it's quite cold. And we want to get all the blood out. And after that, we washed it out with the cold water twice and we fill the water. So as you can see, it looks very clean and there's no blood whatsoever. So that's the first step. After you lightly boiled it, you want to clean it and then re-boil it again. So this has been boiled for about 10 minutes and then we drain all the water out and we are putting in a clean set of bones. Now we're gonna put the bones back into the hot boiling water and then we're gonna boil it for probably all day. I left a lot of the meat and all the tendons in, and that just makes the broth much better. We are also going to add 2 cloves of garlic and about 4 or 5 slices of ginger and 1 whole onion and 3 big cut chunks of Korean radish and some whole black pepper. And once it's boiling, you're gonna lower the heat and boil it for a very, very long time. Like I say, a whole day. And we usually do it outside, that way you won't stink up the house. Okay, now we add some more hot water, just enough so that you won't spill over. And like I said, we're boiling it outside so you won't stink up the house. Now we are adding all the Korean radish and the ginger and the garlics. Once it starts to boil, you want to lower the heat down to low heat. And I have it at 2 now. The highest on this is 5. Okay, now we've been boiling it for 9.5 hours.
And this is gonna be our first batch. As you can see, after about 9.5 hours of boiling or simmering, you could see how thick this broth is. And we're gonna put all the broth into this pot here, and we're gonna put all the meat in here and just leave the bones in here. And we're gonna pour new water and we're gonna boil it again for probably another 9 hours. And when we have both batch, we're gonna mix it together, and that's it. If you just shake them like this, the meat just falls right off the bone. And you gotta save the meat, and you're gonna put the broth with the meat. Okay, this is our first batch of the broth, and we put the bones back in the pot, and we're gonna fill it with the water again, and then we're gonna boil it for the second batch. And during this time, we're gonna throw away all the radish and onions and small piece of bones. On the second batch, we're gonna put the radish and same amount of radish and onion and garlic and ginger, and we're gonna just put it in from the very beginning and boil it. When you make a broth, it's really important to use quality cast iron pot. That way you don't lose too much broth by evaporation, and the broth becomes very rich as well. Okay, this is the second batch that we've been boiling it again for more than 4 hours now. And it is now 11 p.m. So we're gonna let it sit in the garage, and we're gonna continue to boil some more tomorrow. If you let it sit overnight, as you can see, the fat will get all hardened on the top. So this is the first batch, and this is the second batch, still in process. Now the first batch, you can see there's a very thin layer of fat on the top. Now compared to the beef broth, it's not even I would say less than 5% of fats, which is really great. If you use flat spoon, they just peel right off. Okay, we removed about 99% of the fat. If you could shake it, you could see it's like a jello. And that shows you how thick and rich this broth is. And there's the fat that came out. Okay, this is our second batch that we've been boiling this morning again. And we've been boiling it for now about 5 hours. And it's ready. This is the second batch of the bone broth. And we're gonna now remove everything in it except for the broth and throw it away. Okay, this is our first batch and this is our second batch. So we're gonna mix the second batch with the first, like so. So we're gonna have this for lunch today. So we're adding rice cake into the broth that we made all day yesterday and today. For lunch today, we have what we call a 사골 떡국, which means bone broth with a rice cake, and 석박지, which is Korean radish kimchi, and this is gonna be really, really good. You can see all this good stuff in there. It's really rich broth with some venison meat in it. Okay, this is the final result of the broth. That's both batch 1 and batch 2 minus lunch we had. And we're gonna let it cool off in the garage again. And once it becomes like a real gel foam, then we're gonna separate it, portion it, and then we're gonna freeze it and use it whenever we need it. Okay, this is the broth that we made yesterday. And as you can see, they're like a jello in there. And it's got a little bit of fat on the top. We're gonna scrape that off and throw it away. And you have a lot of broth, a really good broth for a very long time. And we're definitely gonna enjoy this. And my friends and family loves this broth, so we tend to share it. So we use it up pretty quick. This is all the broth. And this is for our friend's family. And my wife is saving that for making a gravy. I mean, she makes one of the best gravy for turkey or meatballs. It's a brown gravy and it is super, super good. And this is being double bagged and we're gonna freeze it for the next use.
Well, you might ask yourself, why don't people eat more bone broth? Well, it's not easy making them. And also, most of the commercial bones already have a lot of harmful chemical toxins and also antibiotics. But as a hunter, I'm not worried about that because I can have my own 100% organic deer bones. Now in Korea, a lot of Korean holistic medicine consider deer bone as the #1 quality bones out there. Now you can see why we spend countless hours making bone broth. They are not just healthy for you, but they're really, really good eating. And my wife makes one of the best gravy with deer bone broth. And they go perfect with turkey and meatballs. And people love the gravy. And lastly, thank God for what you have. Enjoy your life with what you got, but mostly stay young and healthy. See ya.